Good morning, everybody. It's Erica with Not Your Average EDC. Happy Tuesday. It's a beautiful day. It's cold. I literally just rolled out of bed. If you guys have been watching the channel for any period of time, you know that Tuesday mornings we wake up and we just make videos about knives because that's the first thing on my mind, aside from the dogs being crazy. So today we're going to talk about the Spyderco Native, but before that, I want to just address some things about the MagnaCut knife from last night. But first, of course, I have to get one of the dogs out of the room because every time I film, this is what they want to do. So, here we go. Zaya, get out. Get out. All right, let's try this again. Okay, so last night I made a video, kind of like an edge retention video, a quick one, showing that I finally got the MagnaCut knife, the second MagnaCut knife, to cut through cardboard without dulling and rolling, which is very exciting for me because this knife has been a mild nightmare since I got it. If you go back to the first video about it, I literally unboxed it, like not on camera, but I unboxed it and then I turned the camera on and I could literally run the knife over my hand like this, and I was like putting pressure on my fingers. Like the edge was just non-existent really. There was absolutely no edge. And then every time I tried to put a new one on, it would just dull very, very quickly. And so now we're at the point where so far it is holding an edge. We are 9 edges deep now, and basically the last thing I have to do is bring it to work and see if it will continue to hold the edge or not. But so far so good. So just a couple things I wanted to say is, number one, no, it is not acceptable that the knife came with an edge where I could run my fingers on it with pressure. That is not acceptable. No, it is not acceptable that I had to put 9 edges on this knife to get it to cut. 9. And that's like last night I used a 120 grit stone, but before that I was trying to remove like maybe fatigued steel or burnt steel or whatever with a 325 grit. That's pretty coarse. It should have been removing enough material to get to like the good steel. So that whole thing is still just like, I don't agree with it. I don't think it's appropriate that I had to use like a 325 grit or a 120 grit 9 times to get this to work. However, obviously I still support John. Do I think that maybe MagnaCut is not his thing right now? Yes, I genuinely do think, with the issues that are going on, I think that he needs to be maybe making more MagnaCut knives for himself, like multiple knives to use at his house to test before continuing to give them to customers, because the only one that I have heard of that had a crystal clear great time with it was Outpost 76. I don't really know him, but that's the only guy that I've heard of that had 0 issues. Everyone else either had a really shitty time with it or had to completely reprofile the knife to get it to work. There are maybe 2 or 3 people in the comments that I've seen now that have said that they had to basically reprofile their MagnaCut knife to get it to cut, and now it's cutting better. Steven over at Talica, he had to send his to Jared Neves to get it literally put at a 13-degree angle to get it to work. And then there were like 2 other people that had to reprofile it. Sorry, I need coffee. So, aside from that, a lot of people had a shit time. And John is learning, he's young, he's a great guy, I respect him, and I just think that maybe he should take some time to make like 5 knives in MagnaCut, use them himself, and really try to figure out what the key to this is. Because in my opinion, it's just very odd that I had to put 9 edges on it to get it to work. So that's odd. Hopefully it'll work now, especially because like all of John's other knives, fantastic. So I have every single steel that he's ever offered, including one that he doesn't really. And like, for example, my Gen 2 spade, this one is in EDC or V2 steel. This has only had one edge put on it, one. And last night I used this all day at work, literally all day. And then I came home and I cut up beef chunks for my dogs, like just chopping through them. And the teeth were so crazy good. Like, granted, this was my own edge, but it was so toothy and so crisp that I could literally chop through chunks of meat that were probably like that thick, I would say. They were like beef kebab chunks. Chop through them, and you could just hear it like crunching through. It was so toothy, and it still got a brutal, crazy edge. That's what I like. That's what's appropriate. A knife should just hold an edge, simple as that. It should come with an edge, and it should hold an edge. End of story. John's knives don't come with the best edges. He's working on that. He knows it's inappropriate. That's why he's getting a better sharpening system, so we don't have to talk about that. But that's what I want. I want to be able to work all day and then come home and still have a razor toothy, crazy edge so that I can continue to work at home. And this does that. So do all of my other BGM knives. My Crewware, my M4, my Z-Ware, my Nitro V, everything. It's just like insanely good. So his heat treat is spot on with all of these steels, and I genuinely don't know what's going on with the MagnaCut over there at his shop. He does great heat treats, so maybe he just has to dial it in. I genuinely don't know. But the MagnaCut clearly still needs some work because it's just very confusing so far. Now that is out of the way, this is going to be April's carry. So this is the Spyderco Native 5, the salt version in LC200 and steel. And this is going to be the knife for April. I am so beyond excited to test this, guys. This is one of the smoothest locks that I've ever used in terms of like the lockback knives. That is awesome. It just drops. It's beautiful. I'm so excited to test it and use it. I threw that Lynch clip on there. This is the one that came looking just like it got run over by a car. But it works. It went on just fine. It has good retention, so we're just going to run it as it is. But yeah, beautiful setup. This is going to be for April. But I wanted to ask you guys if you have a preference on how we test these. So a few times I have tested knives where, like the 940, for example, I really pushed its limits, especially because, oh no, there's a dog hair in my coffee. Goo goo. There have been a few times, like with the 940, where I really tested the limits of the knife, and it was kind of made as a multi-tool, so I ended up testing it as like a pry bar and a scraper and stuff, which was so freaking fun, and I loved it. But I wanted to know, do you guys prefer when I test knives like strictly as cutting and slicing tools, or is it kind of enjoyable to see what they can do further than that? I'm just curious. Like, at the end of the day, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want because that's what I do. But I am curious as to if it's entertaining, if you know, for learning purposes, it's cool for you guys to see like what knives can do outside of just cutting and slicing. Because for me, it's kind of cool to see their capabilities, kind of like a, you know, well, what if this was the only tool you had on you and you had to do X, Y, and Z? Could it do it? Because I don't care if my knives break. I genuinely don't. I'll just get a new one. So just curious. I mean, this is not like a knife where I would necessarily want to pry and stuff with it, but the lock is really strong, and I am a little curious to see how hard we could use this thing without it breaking. It's fun for me, that's all. And I know some people are entertained by it, but yeah, let me know down in the comments what you prefer. Do you live on the edge, on the literal edge of a knife like me, or are you boring and you just want to see cutting tasks? Let me know. Anyway, guys, I think that's about all I have for you. We'll do the Lanny's clip final review this weekend. I am going to get ready and go to work soon, work out, and then go to work. Which, guys, by the way, spring is coming. Summer is coming. Get the fuck up off your ass and go work out and stop being fat. Okay? That's what I want you to do. I want you to get on your diets and take care of yourselves and eat real food and go lose the weight, because I used to be fat as fuck, like literally fat. And now I'm not, and I feel great, and we should all be using our shit in terms of our bodies. So go move your body today. Go eat some real food. Move around. And also use your knives. And I'll see you on the next video. I love you all. Peace.